Hello everyone, welcome to Unacademy special class. And before I start, I would apologize that I was late, probably somewhere around 1 minute or so. I'm extremely sorry, I apologize for that. And about me, I'm Sandeep Bhushan, and my credentials are I have 8 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations, internal security, and also in-depth analysis of editorials and articles, which will be very, very useful for the prelims, factual, analytical, and also in regards to the mains point of view. And this video or this session or the special class is in regards to how to crack prelims 2020. And before I get into the topic, I would say hi to everyone. Advait, Anita, Vag, Himanshu, Kumar, Saurav, Pooja, Dheeraj, Bhavana, everyone, a very good morning. And once again, I apologize. Extremely sorry for being, a minute late. And I would first go ahead with making you understand that it is very important that, as we all know, that we need to focus, we need to identify the articles, editorials, and then emphasize on the keywords and the key phrases, which will be very, very useful for the prelims and also for the mains point of view. Hina is joined. I would say very good morning, Hina. And now we will get to a topic which is a trending one, which is today's article, not editorial, today's article, wherein the heading of the article is COVID-19 and the crumbling world order. COVID-19 and the crumbling world order. So, we will look at what is the world order and how the world order is being crumbling. Hina, today actually, but actually I would go ahead with this because it's a little big topic. So I'll go ahead there with that and then I'll come back to that 193. Please, uh, forgive me. And then we'll go ahead with this COVID-19 and the crumbling world order. Okay, thank you, Ina. And we have seen in the past, in the previous classes also, I did discuss about COVID-19 and its impact on global political order, economic order, Indian economy, social behavior, and also digital technology. Also, I made a point. So here we will look at not that the economic point of view or political point of view, but we will look at something which is an order, world order. So that world order, because of the COVID-19, it is crumbling. What the author says is it is crumbling. So what, before I get into the topic, what do you understand by world order? Or else if anyone has an idea about the world order, so that I would just uh, ask, or I would wish to know from the one who have joined now, what is the world order? Is there, what kind of world order is the author talking about? I will definitely, what do you say, explain you in depth. Anyone, Vag, Bhavana, Dheeraj, Pooja, Kumar, Himanshu, Anita, Advait, anyone? What is this world order? Globalization. Fine. So we will link the COVID-19 with the globalization. We are not going to link with any particular economy or political or social behavior or what kind of impact. It is this topic is in regards to the COVID-19 and its impact on the globalization. Please do understand COVID-19 and its impact on the globalization. So, what is the globalization we are talking about, and how the globalization is really impacting, or it has little bit impacted, and how it is being, what you say, the COVID-19 is still making a larger impact on the globalization. We'll definitely look at. So what it says is, globally, societies could become more self-seeking and inward looking. So we will look at all that. So what is the difference between, or what is the opposite of the globalization? So globalization means you are having a trade globally. You are having a trade globally. That means there is no specific trade within the country, and then you're not saying that, oh, this X country will not have a trade with Y country, because if there is no trade happening between the countries, or there is only trade within the country, then the country will develop only to some extent. But when you have a trade from country to country specific, or countries to countries, another country specific, then definitely there would be a growth economically. That is, mutual understanding would take place, and that would really make sure that that will impact a positive in regards to the entire global system itself. But if the kind of situation arises wherein you are going ahead with the self-seeking self within, you are looking within, and you are like, you are looking inward, you are looking within and you are looking inward. So that means when you are looking within and when you are looking inward, it is against the globalization. Please do understand, globalization is you are thinking beyond your country, beyond the country, beyond the, or is a territory, and then you are thinking outward. Please do understand, globalization means you are thinking outward. But what is happening when you're thinking inward? So that means protectionism approach is being coming into existence. So we would look at the impact COVID-19 and its impact on the globalization. That means COVID-19, how it has brought, or how it has reduced the globalization and the emergence of protectionism. Please do understand two keywords here: globalization and protectionism. How the COVID-19 has actually brought these, the little bit of the globalization concept has been almost losing, and then the protectionism approach is been coming into existence. It's not only because of COVID-19. We have seen earlier also, when there was a trade war between US and China. US and China, when there is a trade war, definitely America was going against the globalization, and they were going for the protectionism or nationalism approach, or else America first, let's make America great. So Donald Trump was going ahead with America first, let's make America great, and then nationalistic approach, or else more of hyper nationalism approach, wherein all these concepts constitutes to or emerge as a protectionism approach. So when you are looking inward, when you are a kind of self seeking, when you want your own country to become more prosperous, then that is protectionism approach, which is against the concept of globalization. Now I would say a hi to everyone who have joined. Mule Alok has joined, Ranat Wamal, Deepika has joined, Mandal has joined, Sota Bim, okay, Varsha, Rani, Rakesh Sharma, everyone, very big hi and a good morning. And today's topic is in regards to COVID-19 and its impact on globalization. So when we are talking about globalization, we need to think about, that means we are thinking beyond the country, we are looking outward. So we need to understand, when we are looking outward, what is that we have looked inward before the concept of globalization. That means we were having trade within the country, which was self seeking. No, now it is not self seeking, but it was beyond that, and that is outward looking. So that has given an emergence to globalization. But because of the COVID-19, there is slowly a concept which is coming up, like self seeking and inward looking, which is a concept of protectionism, which is having a negative impact on the globalization. So our topic is COVID-19 and its impact on globalization. And everyone who has joined, again, a very big hi to them. Or just give me one time, I will just, what do you say, have a message with one of the team members. Please give me some time. Okay, everyone who have joined, IAS, Divya, Anand Singh, Kapil Jar, everyone, a very good morning. Okay, now I would ask everyone here, what is that you have a concept when you are talking about globalization, that this is the one which is actually for the betterment of the entire globe. So why, when did this globalization concept come into existence? Can anyone please let me know? When did this globalization concept come into existence? Okay, Anish, Madhu, Glory Krish, everyone, a very big hi to you also in the YouTube. Very big hi to you all. Yeah, WAG says 90. Okay, in regards to India, 1991, definitely. I mean, once we wanted to go ahead with the globalization, LPG, yes, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, it has come into existence. But in regards to the world, I mean, we are talking about globalization, not exactly. I mean, definitely for India, we'll look at India's point of view. But COVID-19 impacting the globalization, impact on the globalization, and then what kind of impact, or else when the globalization as concept has actually come into existence, or else the new institutions which have come into existence, so that there has to be, because of this institution, entire world will be as a one family. It will work for the benefit of the each and every nation, and all the nations together should prosper economically and also should be politically stable. What, when did actually this come into existence? Works on world level, open market, okay, fine. There were two instances which has happened in the world. After that, the concept of what is a new institutions, like for example, I would say League of Nations have come into existence. League of Nations has come into existence after wars. Yeah, exactly. Glory Kish says, yeah, 1999.5. Okay, it was when he say has joined 1820. They say Himanshu. Okay, fine. Because also has joined. Hi to everyone. And then the main important reason is that the new institutions which have come, that is in regards to the League of Nations, and then later on United Nations Organization, United Nations Security Council, part of it. And then we have also seen the WHO, WTO, all these organizations which are coming to existence. Or else we can also come up with the organizations like the first one, which is in Europe, European Union, which has also, what do you say, has come into existence, or the European Union existence was been because they all have seen the negative or the ill effects of the World War One and the World War Two. So they have understood that, the entire world has understood that we have to come together, not to fight within ourselves, but we need to have a cooperation between all the countries, and thereby there has to be an, what you say, institutions globally, which would have a kind of concept that we are all under one, that we are all one family, we should not fight. And whenever there is any kind of exigencies, so all these organizations which are in regards to UNO, WTO, or WHO, or United Nations Security Council, or Food and Agriculture Organization, all these are in regards to making sure that any kind of exigency which will arise in the world after the World War One, World War Two. So they have all come together and they thought that yes, we need institutions, and then even regional groupings have also come up. That is when we are talking about European Union in the Europe, that is after World War Two, 19th century years back, and then later on we have also seen many regional organizations in Asia and then Southeast Asia. That is in regards to SARC we have seen SARC, and then we have also seen in regards to BIMSTEC, and then BBIN, and then Mekong. So all these are in regards to making sure that regionally we are together, and then internationally also we are together. So what is that importance was, definitely the globalization has come into existence, making sure that there has to be institutions which are internationally acclaimed, so that all the countries will abide by the international organizations, so that all the countries will have a common platform, so that there will not be any kind of warlike situation again in the future. So that has created or emerged a concept called as globalization. So that is called as globalization. Okay, Harpreet Singh, never mind. We have just started. It is in regards to, the topic is in regards to the COVID-19 and its impact on globalization. So now we will get in. How I will get into the topic. So it is COVID-19 and its impact on globalization. So we have seen that yes, the SARS-CoV-2, it's a lethal one which has really shook the entire world. And when it has shook the entire world, there is also a possibility that it is trying to interconnect Please you understand here. It is also trying to interconnect most of the countries, so that we have seen the USA asking India to provide hydroxychloroquine, that is which is anti-malarial drug. So there is some kind of what is a interconnectedness which is happening because of the COVID-19, and also there is a possibility that along with this interconnectedness there is more of inward looking which is happening. There is more of inward looking which is happening, and then there is also a blame game which is happening between the countries, and then the countries together are blaming the international organizations. Fine. Now you will get the point, like why, where we are going ahead, what are we inching towards. So Nikita has joined. Nikita, good morning Nikita. Okay, as pandemic has no boundaries, definitely it will move around, and that is why it is making sure that everyone is wanting to protect their own country, protect their own lives, I mean citizens lives. Thereby they are looking self seeking, they are self seeking and inward looking. But in the gradual process, what is happening is this concept of self seeking and inward looking is heading towards protectionism, which is not at all right at this moment. Because I'll go back to what I was talking about, the trade war between US and China. It has not only impacted both the countries, but the trade war between the two countries has impacted many other countries across the world. It has impacted many other countries across the world. I mean, even India was also impacted because of the trade war, or the retaliation, or the kind of what you say imposing taxes on the Chinese items, Chinese goods in US. Again, China retaliating against the US goods onto the US goods in China. So in turn, what was happening is it has impacted India also. So likewise, like India as a developing country, many other developing countries, for example, Brazil also has been impacted. So the trade war, or the concept of US Donald Trump saying that America first is a protectionism approach. Now, because America is the world's, I mean, the richest economy and a developed country, it has become richest economy and the developed country only because of the concept of globalization. But at this juncture, even US is forgetting that it has today's scenario, or today's stand in regards to US of its economy and its militarily power. It's only because of globalization. If there wasn't globalization, probably US also wouldn't have been so economically strong and then militarily strong. But now at this juncture, Donald Trump or the US president feels that yes, absolutely. So thereby what has happened is he was going ahead with the protectionism approach, and wherein Xi Jinping has made it very clear, Chinese president almost 2 years back, this kind of protectionism approach is not good for the entire world, because it is a globalization which has made the developing countries into developed countries. Please you understand. It is a globalization concept which has made the then developing countries into developed countries. So globalization shouldn't be forgotten, and the protectionism approach should not be accepted worldwide. And even India has also made a clear point, even in United Nations General Assembly, that India is against the protectionism approach. India is against the protectionism approach, and India is for the globalization. And now we will link to how the COVID-19 has, or slowly, gradually, impacting the concept of globalization itself. Impacting the concept of globalization. So, COVID-19, see, please look at here. COVID-19 is, still in the sense it is definitely now started, is fundamentally transforming the world order. What kind of world order it is? It is NIEO, for example. I mean, first to get into the economic order, that is New International Economic Order. NIEO means New International Economic Order. So, definitely COVID-19 is transforming the world order. Please to understand this keyword. This is very important for prelims, analytical, and also for mains point of view. COVID-19 is certainly it is transforming the world order. How how different countries or different leaders were earlier, and how they are trying to look at each other country for help for various reasons. So it is changing the, or it is transforming the world order. China want to top the list. Okay, Rakesh Sharma says that China want to top the list. Even that is in my agenda of explanation. I will also put forward that how China is actually not agenda. It is almost on par with, as of now, on par with US in regards to purchasing power parity. And the Harpreet Singh also says that definitely aftermath of the COVID-19, that America is going to lose its number one position. Okay, all that we will discuss, Harpreet. And it is transforming the world order. That means it is transforming the balance of power what the entire countries have, and then the balance of power or the kind of what you say contribution towards the international organizations. It could be United Nations General Assembly, United Nations Security Council, or ECOSOC, or also in regards to the ILO, International Labour Organizations, or it could be in regards to WHO, World Health Organization, or WTO, fine, on many other international organizations. So it is definitely changing the balance of power and the traditional concepts of national security. This is very very important. The traditional conceptions of national security is also what is it changing because of the COVID-19. Why? What is that is the main concern of the COVID-19? That is the spread of transmission of the virus. So what is happening with the transmission of the virus? So every country wanted to protect its citizens. So in the process, they are going ahead with the national security. So what they are doing is trying to make sure that the citizens or the foreigners wouldn't enter into, or the other citizens, other country citizens national doesn't enter into one particular country. So what is happening is they are trying to protect their national security in the means through the process of making sure that their individuals or their citizens are protected in regards to their lives. Okay, transform the entire world order might be Asian economics may rise. Okay, Arpit says one point that probably in this entire scenario, the one which will be, or the continent which will be benefited is Asia. Never know, never know, and that is happening, and that is happening. Integrated disease surveillance program network. Okay, Chota Bhim said that it is also transforming the world order in regards to having an integrated disease surveillance program, definitely. And that is also, again, if you look at the IDSP, that is Integrated Disease Surveillance Program Network, is also to make sure that it is protecting, or it is having the concept of its national security, national interest. Please do understand. Yes. So now looking into this transformation in regards to the old order, that is in regards to the balance of power, traditional conceptions of national security, what now the question mark arises, or like what is that happens, or what is the fate of the future of globalization? And now we must be ready to confront with new political and social realities. So that is bound to happen. That is bound to happen because of the COVID-19, because of the new world order, because of the national security, because of the national interest, because of the protecting the individuals, countries, I mean the citizens' life or public health, public system, health infrastructure. So a new concept is arising, wherein the future, what could be the future of the concept called the globalization. And we all, I mean the entire country, all the countries and all the citizens across the world have to be ready with the new political and social reality. So this is also the question for the mains examination or analytical point of view. Because of the COVID-19, there is a transformation in the globalization, future of globalization, and we all must be ready to confront new political and social reality. Comment or explain. So probably now this basic understanding or basic information background whatever I'm actually giving now, without, I mean before getting into the concept, which will really help you in regards to that how the COVID-19 is impacting and definitely will impact the globalization. And because of the impact on the globalization, how every country and every people or region or religion, region and then specific states have to be ready with the new, or have to be ready how to confront with the new political and social realities. Okay, Smart India says that there is a net problem. Actually, I am from my side there is no net problem. Smart India. I mean, I do not know your name, but it says Smart India. 100% from my side there is no net problem. And Arpit says that, and before I get into the topic again explanation, I would say very big hi to everyone who has joined this special class. And Arpi said this is a time to make use of the dormant UN platform for entitled world. We will help doomed future. Yes, all that we will discuss. And then Brinda has said visa sanctions by US on another citizens. Yes, H1B visas, and everyone who have joined, a very big hi to everyone. And now we will get into the topic called as, and then Glory Kish has said even in the YouTube that World International Economic Order. Yes. Now the concept is that new international economic order will come into existence. That is NIEO, New International Economic Order will come into existence because of the impact of the COVID-19, wherein every country is seeking self reliance. Every country is seeking inward. Every country wanted its own national security or national interest to protect its own health infrastructure, its own, what do you say, life, public health of particular country. So thereby there is certainly, and this is how you as a civil servant aspirant have to focus on, not just focusing on COVID-19 versus its impact on economy. It is challenge. Okay, definitely it is trying to go ahead with that. And because of this COVID-19, because of this COVID-19, or it's a failure, as it is a failure of the contemporary world order and its institution. Now the concept, now where actually we are heading into. Now can anyone tell me, because of the spread of the SARS-CoV-2, which has actually been Wuhan as the epicenter in the Hubei province of China, that we have seen on December 31st itself, the case has come up in China, the death first mortality rate, and almost it was March second week wherein the WHO has announced that COVID-19 or COVID-19 is pandemic. So it's almost 2.5 months. It's almost 2.5 months. The WHO has taken time to declare that COVID-19 is pandemic. So now the many other countries, especially US, we have seen South Korea, we have seen even the G20 countries. Recently, the G20 conference which has taken place through video conferencing, all these countries have definitely put, or they have raised the fingers against the WHO. The way it has reacted, the way it has taken the initiations, the way it has actually cautioned the entire world about the pandemic in regards to the SARS-CoV-2 or the COVID-19. So now the point here is that, now the question what I'm asking you is that whether there is any kind of the way the WHO has reacted in regards to the COVID-19, was has it done, or was it timely, or there is some kind of a questions, I mean there is possibility of questions raising against the WHO. And we have seen that Venetia says that if India uses this chaos situation properly, won't India have better prospects of having many foreign companies open in India? Yes, there is. I will also discuss that. And then Rakesh Sharma says that organizations took very late step towards COVID-19. Okay, the answer from Rakesh Sharma is that I mean many of the organizations are international, wherein in regards to the health organizations, apart from WHO, they have reacted little late. They say, I mean, Satya Dandala has joined. Hello, sir, and she says good morning. I would say very good morning, Satya also. And then Harpreet says, sir, it is need to understand WHO is a very complex organ, so information not available to them at ease, as it started in 2019 December. Okay, fine. Definitely, there are fingers pointed at WHO, and there are also, what do you say, many countries who are also saying that it is because of the WHO who has reacted. At least we could make sure that the entire world, the mortality rate or the fatality of the COVID-19 patients are comparatively low. If WHO wouldn't have responded, I mean, in time, then it would have been more disaster to the human life. So there are two scenarios wherein raising points or raising fingers and then blaming on the WHO. The other side is, yes, WHO has did try to handle the situation in a very scientific and rational manner. So there are two things. And WHO favored China. Okay, WAC says that WHO has favored China. That is what US President Donald Trump has said, that it is because when he initially started, he said it is China coronavirus. I don't know on what basis he has said, but he has said that is, he was definitely having the kind of trade war, that hangover of the US and China trade war. It has made it very clear that it is more evident in the minds of the Donald Trump in regards to China, especially in regards to trade war. He made it is a China coronavirus. Actually, it's not right, but WHO, the owners also lies with China too, sir. It's given information to WHO late. Okay, the point here is there is a statement being made by our civil servant aspirant that China has given information late. Yes, definitely China did not come out with the information that the SARS-CoV-2 has infected human beings in Wuhan, Wuhan district of the Hubei province, and the information has been, no doubt, it has been, what do you say, given late to the WHO, and then further it is the WHO which has announced in the second week of March about the pandemic. So definitely, whatever the reasons, I mean, not really focusing or pinpointing on the China or WHO, but definitely there is, or there are fingers pointing out at the world order and its institutions. I have just taken WHO. I have just taken WHO because we are talking about COVID-19. There are many, wherein in regards to United Nations Security Council, in regards to NAM, non-alignment movement, in regards to World Trade Organizations, as I said, UNSC, and then relevance of European Union itself, relevance of SARC, relevance of ASEAN countries. So there are many, what is a regional and international organizations wherein the fingers are being raised. And now we'll get to the second point. The first response, when we look at the first response, because the author was talking about self inspiring and then inward looking. Bindra says that international health regulations also made confusion, sir. Okay, fine. Definitely, because as SARS-CoV-2 was the one which was altogether very different compared to the previous viruses. When we look at the HIV, when we look at the Ebola virus, SARS, H1N1, H5N1, and then in regards to MERS, that is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, and then Nipah virus, Hendra virus, everything, I mean, all of the viruses what the world has experienced, but this SARS-CoV-2 has spread very violent, and the earlier viruses were in the pockets of few regions or pockets of few countries or a continent, but this one has spread across the continents, across the globe. Thereby there was not much of time to react. Could be for China and also for the WHO. I'm not supporting China or WHO, but I'm talking about the impact of the SARS-CoV-2 onto the various countries, that we did not have much time to react on it, and that is a problem. Why it affects only the two cities, China, China. Okay, just a minute. Only China has compared to the world. Okay, there is a question raised that why it has impacted only the Wuhan or few other. Probably they have gone ahead with, probably it's just we need to look at it as a civil servant as well, because China was locked down for 76 days. Only last week 76 days national lockdown was lifted. Probably because of the stricter measure of the national lockdown, and then restricting all the people from staying at their own places. Probably that was the reason why it did not spread. I mean, being very positive, right? And then there is a sir, please Hindi use. Nashish said, please use Hindi. I'm extremely sorry, I cannot go ahead with conversing or explaining in Hindi as I'm not comfortable. Harpreet said, I agree with Bindra. Okay, fine. Yes, sir, please Hindi and Tamil. Oh, there's a lot of demand for me, Hindi and also Tamil. I'm not. I can only speak. I can only converse in English, please. China informed WHO cases pneumonia. Okay, probably yes, sir. It's China. Okay, China had already tracked SARS. Okay, fine. Now we'll come to the point here. When we have looked at the Western states, now we will get to the point inward looking. We will look at protectionism approach. Please do understand, everyone. Please do understand, everyone, whatever I'm explaining now. Please give a perfect thought. Why I was saying protectionism, the protectionism approach, inward looking, national security, national interest, and then self reliance. I mean, self, we are thinking about self. Because when we look at the first response of many Western states were to protect its capital market. Please do understand this point. This is very important. If it is an analytical question in the prelims, one of the statement given in the prelims is also in regards to the, what is a analytical question in the prelims. So first and foremost response from many of the Western countries and also in regards to the US, they were worried about their capital market, their capitalistic approach, their national interest, their economy. They were not worried about the public health. Please do understand this. That is why the virus has spread very violently. That is why the infected cases in European countries, and also in regards to the US, if you look at the infected cases and the deaths are higher in the countries wherein they are all developed countries with a very good health infrastructure, and almost 10% of GDP is being contributed to US health infrastructure, compared to France, Germany, Spain. If you look at all those countries, are Paris, Italy, if you look at all those countries are the one which are having a very good or a better health infrastructure compared to India. India is highly populated, that is 1.3 billion population, with a very meager health infrastructure, but we could try to contain it far better than the, what do you say, the Western countries. The reason is India was worried about India was worried about public health, but India was worried about the, our India's national interest at that moment was protecting the lives of the Indians. But wherein the Western countries and US, the interest was in regards to the capital markets. That was in regards to maintaining the economy, maintaining the economy. That is why the the concept of inward looking protectionism, why I'm saying it is against the globalization, why people started, because of the COVID-19, the globalization concept is slowly gradually evading, and the protectionism approach is coming into existence. That is what my point is. That is why the Western countries, if you look at, yes, they were concerned about the economy, but they were not concerned about the lives of the people, and that is the first step for the protectionism approach. No doubt India has taken a protectionism approach, but it was for the lives. Fine. And then world rely on much on China supply chain to shock the world order. Okay, we look at that. But the shortage of medicine. Okay, we look at that's why USA death. Okay, fine, fine, fine. India takes step on right now. Fine. And now we'll get back to the point wherein after World War II, many countries, as I have said, that the countries which were part of the World War I and World War II of different allies, they have decided that the war is not the solution. What is the solution is we have to come together, and there has to be act which has impacted all the countries which were part of the World War I and World War II. So they wanted to surge from the economic crisis to having a better economy, so that the globalization concept has come up, and then new institutions have come into existence. So but the other point of it, or the, what do you say, the point wherein if you look at it in a very different aspect, they have been, with the new institutions have been created after the World War II, and the real intention was not to actually have a universal, or go ahead with whichever countries have been badly hit economically, or they will progress, but it was actually making sure that they would be politically and militarily, they would have more of power. That is why they have happened. And why this statement I'm saying is right, because now if we look at the international institutions, the WHO is not having any kind of say at this moment, because US is trying to dominate, or trying to figure out, or trying to pinpoint at the WHO the way it has reacted in regards to the COVID-19, and the way WTO, US is not worried about the WTO, that is the World Trade Organization's rules and regulations. When it goes ahead with the trade globally, globalization trade, it is not worried about it, it is against it. US is not worried about the United Nations Security Council or United Nations General Assembly, the way it takes into consideration of the resolutions, what it takes place in the United Nations. It is not worried about it. It wanted to go ahead with sanctioning on various other countries, irrespective of UN or UN Security Council or UN General Assembly doesn't want to go ahead with imposing the sanctions. So there lies now whether the international institutions have the relevance even now. That is when we are talking about, does the United Nations Security Council, does the WHO, does the WTO, or the national aligned movement, if you look at, and also European Union, and also in regards to SARC and ASEAN countries, ASEAN region, if you look at, are they still having the relevance? Because when I'm saying are they still having the relevance, why I'm talking about, why I'm raising the point, still do they have the relevance, is because it is one country which is actually dominating now on all these institutions, international institutions, that is US. Because US is the one which is budgeting maximum or more to all these institutions. It could be UN, it could be United Nations Security Councils, it could be WTO, WHO, and it could be in regards to the ILO, it could be any other organizations. It is the US which is budgeting a lot, and major part of the budgeting is been done by USO. That is why USO is having more of domination on all this. So at this juncture, what is happening is globalization will slowly fade away, and protectionism approach will come into existence, wherein the protectionism approach will make sure that once the state's intervention will be a larger picture. And I would say very big hi to everyone. And now when we look at this United Nations Security Council is not having or any kind of impact now. When we look at the kind of domination by the US, and the other one is even in regards to the way the WHO has reacted. Now the United Nations Security Council is also coming into play, wherein it is saying that it has to, I mean, it is also pinpointing that WHO might have taken the steps a bit little early so that the pandemic like situations wouldn't have arisen. So UN Security Council is also trying to come to the rescue of US now. Please do understand this. United Nations Security Council is also coming to the rescue of US also. If you look at European Union also, if you look at European Union also, it was not really having any clue the way the virus was spreading across the globe, because they were not worried about the spread of the virus. They were just worried about the capital market. That is, they were worried about the economy of the particular countries. That is the entire European Union. That is why they were looking inward for solutions. They were looking inward. They were not looking outward. How the entire, what is it, the other part of the world was affecting. That is the China or the Southeast Asia or the West Asia is actually impacting. They were not worried about. They were only in regards to the self-help, and there were no regional coordination between them. And that is why the globalization concept is slowly fading away. And then the inward-looking solutions have come up into existence because of the COVID-19. They wanted to go ahead with protecting their economy. But what has happened is, see, I'm not supporting China here, but what has happened, I mean, in regards to the conversation, in regards to the explanation, what has happened is China has immediately looked at to protect the lives of the people. They have gone for 76 days lockdown, and because of the lockdown, now it is under stability. Now, when it is stability, now China is going ahead with the manufacturing. It is revamping its economy. It's revamping its, what do you say, the entire manufacturing sector, or the entire the economic process or the economic activity it is revamping. So look at the way China has reacted. Look at the Western countries, the way Western countries had focused first on the economy, that is the capital markets, and later on the health, but it has impacted a lot on the health and also to the economy. But China is first focused on the health, that is the health infrastructure or the people's life, the citizens life, and then once it did try to contain the virus, now it has focused on the improving its economic activity. And take it for granted, now China will have a better say over US in regards to the its economic activity, and also in regards to the way it will have purchasing power capacity or consumption capacity. I would say hi to everyone who have joined again here in special class. And then Harpreet says that time and again USA proved that they no care for any resolutions of UN. Yes, absolutely. And while keeping eyes on their assets and meet the people, yes, absolutely. Harpreet says, sir, China is a better position. Why? Because that they contained earlier SARS epidemic. Yes, because they have the experience of SARS, they have the experience of H1N1, they have the experience of swine flu or bird flu, and they have the experience of H1N1, N5. They have the, what do you say, even in regards to now recently hantavirus. Yes, so because of all that, now we will get into the next point, wherein now we were talking about the international institution, that is United Nations Security Council, and also I was talking about the way European Union has what is reacted for the COVID-19, and now we'll come back to the regional organizations. Regional organizations, fine. Okay, there is a poll wherein it says as okay, I'll ask a question here now. Because of the COVID-19, because of the COVID-19, its impact would be on the globalization. I mean, because of the COVID-19 or the post COVID-19, its impact would be on option A, globalization, option B, protectionism, option C, national interest, option D, none of the above. You have a start poll option here in the session special class, wherein it says ask a question. The impact of COVID-19 or the impact of COVID-19 would be on which among the following? First is globalization, second one is globalization, protectionism, third one is globalization, protectionism and national interest, fourth one is none of the above. It's a question. Okay, see. Okay, this globalization, protectionism, and national interest. Okay, very good. So Brinda says globalization, protectionism, and national interest. National interest you don't consider. Okay, fine. So there is a answer poll, and then to the start a poll also. Many of them have answered to it. That means you're all into the concept of understanding the, or you're a part of the entire discussion. So now we have looked at United Nations Security Council or UN, and then we have looked at European Union. Now we will look at the regional institutions. The COVID-19 and its impact on the globalization. When I'm taking globalizations, it is international organizations or institutions, and then European Union, which is what you say in the Europe countries, an organization, and then regional institutions in the Asia, that is SARC. Now, if we look at SARC, yes, India has gone ahead with taking initiative, going ahead with the video conferencing, trying to get back all the rest of the 7 countries, wherein there were not much of interaction of the summit, which has taken place because of the Uri attack. Because of the Uri attack, and India has suspended the summit. But again, India has taken an initiative to have the a global or else COVID SARC emergency fund, so that we all will come together to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. But if you look at that also, it was an initiative taken to revamp the dead institution of SARC, and then it was for a very short life period. It's a very short period, because again every country is looking at its own protecting its economy, protecting its life. Because we have seen the couple of days back, we were talking about lives versus livelihood. Please to understand, lives versus livelihood, because it is also very clear that in spite of economic crisis deepening or damaging, the important thing is that we need to protect the lives. So that is where the kind of tug of war is happening between the lives and livelihood, wherein it is also happening in various other countries also. That is in regards to the capitalism and then the lives. I would say a big hi to everyone. Protection of livelihood. Arpit said the protection of livelihood. Yes. And then we have seen the concept of which has started in the year 1940s. That is after the World War II we have seen, or World War I and World War II we have seen, the global institutions have actually come up, but it is not really helping any kind of humanity. But now, because of the decline of the globalization and the increase or the surge of the protectionism approach, there is a biggest challenge to the humanity in the 2020s. Now the next forthcoming years across the world, to all the countries, what is the biggest challenge is, because of the protectionism approach, or because of the decline of globalization, or not really heeding to the, or not really abiding by the globalization concept, which is the correct one. But many countries are following the protectionism approach. Because of the protectionism approach, there would be impact on the globalization, and that is now because of the COVID-19. What is happening is, they are all going ahead with a humanity phase, which will challenge the further 2020s. China is increasing its revenue through coronavirus. Okay, who says this? IAS Manorama Zala is saying that. Okay, fine. We will look at it whether it is or whether it is not, fine. And the one who have joined all now in the special class, a very big hi to everyone. And then Vishal also has joined in YouTube. Hi to Vishal also. And then we have seen that all these global institution frameworks is unrepresentative. Please understand this point, this one now, because you will know it better. Why globalization? There is an impact on globalization. Earlier itself, it has started when Donald Trump has pulled out of the Paris climate deal. When Trump has pulled out of Iran nuclear deal. Please do understand this point. When Trump has pulled out of climate deal. When Trump has pulled out of Iran nuclear deal. When Trump has pulled out of now in regards to the way he is talking about the America first, let's make America great, and the way he is going ahead with the trade war, and the way he has come up with the CATSA, that is countering America's adversaries through imposing sanctions, CATSA, so sanctions imposing. So he is coming up with all various methods of protectionism approach. Why it is happening is because all the global institutions framework are become unrepresentative. They are just for the namesake. They are in the, what do you say, on paper. Why? Because they have become a pawn in the hands of whom? The great power, or the one who have the, what do you say, more of money. That is who we are talking about. Whom? Yes, definitely it is none other than US. Because of the US having, what do you say, more militarily powerful, more economically powerful, that is the developed economy. Because of that, because of, what do you say, more of power militarily and then economically, US is budgeting of maximum quota to all these institutions. That is why US is having a greater say on these institutions, and these institutions have become pawn in the hands of the US, and that is what the worry is. Because of this, and now again because of the COVID-19, the globalization impact is definitely there, and the globalization will gradually reduce, and the new concept will emerge as protectionism. And then Harvey says it's not to blame game whether it is China or WHO which looks or created the virus. It is time for all humanity to look universal brotherhood. Exactly. Now we need to, what you say, focus on first to limit the spread of the virus, and then increase the economic activity. That is very important. And now, as I was talking about the protectionism approach, when you look at this protectionism approach, what the US is actually going ahead with this, it is at this moment it is very good. But as I said a couple of years back, the Chinese president also made a point saying that all the developed countries earlier, or developing countries earlier, have become or have shifted gradually or emerged as the developed countries only because of the concept of protection, or only because of the concept of globalization. But now the countries which are developed, if they are practicing the protectionism approach, the same kind of protectionism approach or the model will subsume the developed countries, will subsume the greater military power countries. And this is what it says it will happen if the protectionism approach is, it's bubbling, if it increases a lot, then definitely the countries which are in the path of following the protectionism approach will one day become not developed, but they will get into the developing, or it is what, like more than a Detroit situation or condition than India it will become. Than India it will fall down comparatively low than the developing countries like India, Brazil. Also it will also. And that is what is this protectionism approach, wherein the globalization of global impact on globalization and the emergence of protectionism. Please do understand COVID-19 and its impact on globalization, and its and the emergence of protectionism. Protectionism is national interest global minus globalization. Yes, and that is nothing but it will subsume the one who is actually going against the globalization. And if you look at here, these are all the institutions which have to be protected. Only it will be protected only when there is a concept of globalization. And as I said that this protectionism approach is a tendency which is actually having the hyper nationalism. That is, Chota Bhim was talking about nationalism, national interest minus globalization. That is nothing but, again, you can also put there is equal to, again you can put hyper nationalism. That is what USA is going ahead with. America first, let's create America first, and he wanted to build a wall across, what do you say, the bordering of Mexico also. So hyper nationalism activities, that is all. Those are all concepts of the protectionism approach. Please do understand, he wanted to go ahead with building a wall against, what do you say, the Mexico itself. Extremely sorry, Mexico. So that is clearly saying, or it is giving a concept of hyper nationalism, and that hyper nationalism is never a correct concept, because as entire countries across the world are independent, sovereign, but still to grow, to develop, they have to be interdependent. They have to be interconnected. If they are not interdependent or interconnected, then take it for granted this hyper nationalism or protectionism concepts which are against globalization will definitely submerge them. Will definitely submerge those countries who are following the protectionism approach. And these kind of, what is a neoliberal tending to economic globalization, I'll tell you what it is. Tending to economic globalization will have taken a major beating on in the wake of the pandemic. So what is happening is, because of the pandemic, because of the COVID-19, we are not blaming the COVID-19. Because of the COVID-19, the kind of approaches taken by the Western countries and the US, the kind of approach taken by the Western countries and the I mean Europe. Sir, hyper-nationalism is facets as of right-wing government. Okay, yes, definitely, definitely. You are absolutely right. And I would say very big hi to everyone. Herbit says right-wing government. Definitely. And you have the concept of neoliberal tending to have an economic globalization will have a taken a major beating on the wake of the pandemic. That means there would be impact on the neoliberal. Neoliberal is what? It is a form of liberalism. What is liberalism? Liberalism is a country which follows the liberty and equality before law. So when a neoliberalism is a new kind of liberalization, which is now because of the pandemic, it will affect the globalization. And then globalization, regionalism, isn't in contemporary world. Okay. And sir, you are great. Aryan says okay. Well, that says hi, sir. And I would say very big hi to everyone. A very big hi to everyone. And now we will look at a point wherein now a more inclusive global political and economic order is unlikely anytime soon because of the reasons what I have said, because of the kind of approaches from various other countries. It could be Western countries, that is Europe, US, and then the way Iran also we have discussed recently, I mean, a couple of days back, the way Iran was reacting in regards to its religion kind of thing, and then keeping business intact. So it has made it very clear that this kind of approach, that is national security and then protectionism approach, this is now because of the pandemic situation. A more inclusive global political and economic order is unlikely anytime soon. That means definitely there is something which is going to happen against the globalization concept. Please do understand. That means whatever I was talking about, the point of, or else the trending topic, what I have taken of the trending topic, that is seen that it was just to protect the capital market instead of their public health. And then because of this we have seen, because of this now new concept, what is happening is the state intervention. Because of the new concept, what we are talking about, the national interest. National interest is nothing but the kind of what you say COVID-19 is going ahead with the national. Please brief globalization, regionalization, isn't it contemporary world? Isn't in contemporary world? Okay, see, regionalism is like wherein as India has taken an initiative in regards to SARC, ASEAN, Southeast Asian countries, all that BIMSTEC is the regionalism. The other one which is a kind of regionalism in Europe is also European Union. Fine. Globalization means it is constituting or which are all part of these regional organizations also. You have the, what is it? You have in regards to America also, you have Mercosur, you have NAFTA also. So even in Europe you have even in Europe you have a Shenzhen agreement. Even in Africa you have African Union. So all these together are the regional organization. But overall, all these regional organizations or institutional organizations comes under the purview of the globalization. So under the umbrella of the globalization, you have the regionalism or regional groupings. Sushant Keshavarni, I think you have understood now. The point was regionalism and globalization, isn't it contemporary work? The point is like under the globalization, the umbrella of globalization, you have the regionalism, that is EU, and then United Nations Security Council, WHO, WTO, or regional organization, that is SARC, ASEAN, then African Union, and also Shenzhen Agreement in the Europe, and then you have the NAFTA, Mercosur in or Latin American countries. So all these are part of the globalization, but they are again differently in different pockets of the continents or different regions. I think you have understood. Okay, fine, very good. And now when we are coming about the impact on globalization, it is that there would be more of state intervention. That means because of the protectionism approach, when we are talking about, when there is protectionism approach, that means it is focusing on the national interest. When it is focusing on the national interest, because Harpreet was talking about right wing approach, yes, that creates a kind of what you say states intervention. That means state wanted to interfere in regards to its protectionism. So state wanted to interfere because it wanted to make sure that what is important at that moment, whether it is life or economy. At this moment, as every country is wanting the public life, or the public life in the sense, yeah, I'm talking about its respective countries or the respective citizens. So protectionism approach right now is in regards to protecting the life. And then next is the economic crisis, or to what you say stabilize the economic situations or the economic activity. But if you look at the point here is that protectionism approach is the one which is taking a larger impact on the state's intervention, and that is very important, wherein the new world order will emerge in the entire countries, entire, I mean, the across the continents and across the globe. A new international world order will emerge because of this protectionism. Because of the protectionism, there would be state intervention, and once there is a state intervention, please do understand that the democracy of a kind of, what you say, what the people wanted will not actually come into existence. There will be domination of the state, because state will have the entire power because of the situations like COVID, which is creating, or which is making, or giving a path, or providing a path or a platform to the protectionism approach. Once the protectionism approach comes, state will have a domination. When states have dominations, then the civil liberties or the institutions will not have much of say. Please do understand, much of say, and that will again come make sure that there would be a total control by the state. And when there is total control by the states, then definitely the individuals or the civil liberties or the business, that is the capitalist, please to understand, the capitalist, civil liberties, individuals will lose all their powers or the rights. Please to understand this point, very 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 important. It would be part of your international, I mean, mains paper 2, mains paper 2. It will be a very problem, voice problem. Okay, Rakesh Sharma says voice problem. I would see whether it is there. I mean, I would try to make sure that it will be all right. What should be the step of government of India, where we have seen export ban on nations first view by developed countries? Are you talking about the hydroxychloroquine with the retaliation measures? That means, that is what, again, hegemony. That is what the protectionism approach. US wanted to protect its countries, forgetting about the World Trade Organization's rules. And then it said that India, in fact, it has threatened India. If you are not going ahead with exporting hydroxychloroquine now to US, then definitely we will retaliate with the retaliating with the various other measures, which would be impacting India's economy itself at this juncture. Probably it will not give fund us more. So India might be expecting what do you say, the funds from the US. Probably that will impact. So that is also a problem to it. So because of that, there is a point that we have to be very clear in regards to how far we are trying to go ahead with the protectionism approach. So the way the hydroxychloroquine export what it wanted US is also a protectionism approach. And because of the state intervention, the individuals, the civil liberties, and then again the business activities or the business people will not have more of say. So when that happens, as I was talking, the ability of the big corporates to detect the production, stocks, supply chains, and backup plans will be totally under the control of state intervention. Again, that is also a problem, because it is a part of the protectionism approach, wherein the COVID-19, its impact on globalization and the emergence of protectionism approach. When there is a protectionism approach, it impacts the citizens itself of those particular country, the civil liberties of those particular countries, the business community of those particular country, wherein the country or the state will have the entire domination. That is also a kind of, what is a dictatorship. It is, look at the way, I mean, we are trying to correlate with COVID-19 with a different kind of approach itself, globalization, and linking it further to autocracy or dictatorship. The world getting into that kind of mode, and we have seen the US is going ahead with that. And now because of the COVID-19, the entire what you say, the entire country, I mean, across the countries, across the globe, would try to get into it, taking the advantage of the pandemic 19, taking the advantage of pandemic COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2, and that shouldn't happen, but it is bound to happen for some time. And the state has returned more power. Okay, this is because they have now, because of the COVID-19, they have more power, they have more legitimacy, they have more surveillance technology. Why? Because as we have seen, because in India, because of the pandemic COVID-19, as it is pandemic, we have, in government of India has invoked all the acts, as I have said, Epidemic Diseases Act, and then Essential Commodity Act, section 144 of IPC, Criminal Procedures Code, Disaster Management Act. So everything is in place. Once it is in place, they will have more power, they will have more legitimacy, and because of this, there is more of surveillance technology in their hands. Because of this, more of all the invoking all these acts, and then having more of technology that I was talking about, impact on digital transformation. Digital transformation, that is also part of state information. And because of the COVID-19, states are becoming more power. States are becoming more power. States will have their intervention in the all the activities in regards to the production, supply chain, and then all the economic activities, that will have a severe beating on the globalization. Please do understand this. That will have a severe beating on the globalization, and this is a big threat to the corporates, which actually has led to the globalization. I suppose you all have understood the way I have linked, the way I have made you explain that COVID-19, its impact on globalization, and the surge or the emergence of protectionism. That is an emergence of new economic order. Okay, please brief money print scope in India as we have seen in developing, and probably if India is unable to, what you say, pump money or to make sure that we are unable to pull in the resources, that is resources, I'm talking about the economic resources or the economic liquidity, then there is only one chance left for us, that is to contain or to have the better health infrastructure and the economy to have a stabilized one. The last and foremost option is to print money, but we should wait and see whether that is actually required or not. Whether if it is there, then how it will impact this. Impact the inflation is a very bigger cause of concern. And now here I'll raise a point one, because of this protectionism approach, it is not what you say the US is actually gaining. The which is gaining is the China, because if you look at China has managed the outbreak of COVID-19. China has managed the outbreak of COVID-19, and because of the 76 lockdown, it has gone ahead with containing the virus successfully. And after 76 days, now it is now focusing on the manufacturing sector. It is focusing on the kind of economic activity, and that will actually prove that China is far better than the US in regards to the purchasing power capacity, that is a consumers production, and then consumers having the consumption, that is the end user consumption. And also the US is not now the biggest economy in the world now, as of now, because China has managed it, overcome it, and now it is in the process of industrial production, and it is recovering, and it is recovering, and it is recovering. And what is the best or else good news for China is even the oil prices have come down, and these oil prices will make China to economically prosper very fast, and then who have all joined now after 1 hour also, I would say very big hi to them. And then not only that, in China has also, Beijing has also gone ahead with offering medical aid and then expertise to all of the countries, and also the country which is its rival country, that is even to the Japan, So look at the way the economic order is changing. That is what I was talking about, change in the economic order. China, which has, which has a, what do you say, an enmity to Japan, because Japan is an ally or a good friend of US, but at this situation, because of the COVID-19, it is going ahead with giving medical aid and expertise to the Japan, also the enemy of the China. So the economic order is changing, political order is changing because of the COVID-19 impacts on globalization. A new economic order is emerging. And then Xi Jinping also has spoken to the United Nations Security Council. That means the way the US, tries to have more of domination on United Nations Security Council. But look at now the new economic order, which is shifting in the side of the China, wherein China is taking this situation in trying to have a discussion, not dominate, discussion with United Nations Secretary General in regards to how we can fight the virus. Okay, Shushan says, please brief money print scope in India as we have seen in developed countries. Isn't it good for short-term impact? Between who cares of long-term economic impact? But we know there will be impact of money print. But what matters now is pandemic, and this liquidity of money is much more important than longer term. Yes, definitely, Shushan. That is very important. That is what I'm saying. The RBI will definitely look into it, the situation, the liquidity, excess of liquidity or the liquidity crunch, and then whether if it is excess, how to squeeze it, and whether if it is, what you say, shortage, and we are unable to, what you say, provide or have the contribution of around 5 to 6 or 5 to 7 percentage of the GDP to the health infrastructure, then definitely we have to go ahead with the printing of money. We have to. That is what even my answer is. We have to. But it all depends upon the finance ministry, the prime minister, and the RBI, how they will decide whether the printing of money is imperative or whether it is necessary at this time. And then this COVID-19 will further push the international system into a world with Chinese characteristics. Please to understand this line. I said COVID-19 will further push the international system into a, pause there, into a world with Chinese characteristics. Please to understand. Into a, from here you put it in quotation, into a world with Chinese characteristics. Please do understand here. That means there is a shift in economic order, there is a shift in political order, there is a shift in globalization. When there is a shift or when there is an impact on globalization and the emergence of protectionism, what this protectionism approach will evolve into a world with Chinese characteristics. That means how the China will take a lead now. How China will take a lead and how China will look at this photograph. You can see. You can see this. How China. I mean, Xi Jinping is inching forward, and then how I mean Trump is trying to push him, but still Jinping is definitely moving ahead. You can see this. Thank you, Chotamin. Thank you. No, this is what pictorial representation is very, very important while explaining the lectures. I mean, the classes are very important because if I keep on going ahead with lecturing, probably most of them or few of them may not understand. But when it is a pictorial representation, it will have a larger impact on the subconscious mind. Wherein when you sit in the examination hall, it could be in regards to the prelims or in regards to the mains. Only when you get reminded of the pictorial representation, you can write the answer. And one last one, there would definitely, what do you say, go ahead with the social prejudice. What is social prejudice? That kind of, what you say, discrimination. You're not worried about others, you're worried about yourself. And then that is what the picture talks about. That is what the picture talks about. Here there is actually a bridge, but because of the, what you say, COVID-19, these people affected, what is happening is they are moving away the bridge so that these people who are the other side, that is protectionism approach, national interest of these people, that they do not want these people who were or who are also part of them, who do not want them to shift to this side. So this kind of, what you say, social prejudice, biasness wherein discrimination will take place. Okay, please click this also, ICMR role when organization like WHO. Please click this also, ICMR role when organization like WHO and bodies are creating guidelines. Okay, sir, if India can capitalize this situation, we can emerge as a par with China, though it is a big challenge. It is a little bit challenge because comparatively, when we look at China, the China has gone ahead with has gone ahead with manufacturing sector, which it has pumped all its products, China's products, across the world. And when we look at the One Road, One Belt initiative, Maritime Silk Route, and then the way in regards to string of pearls, which is, what do you say, from Hambantota to Gadar port, again to Djibouti, that is in Africa. Djibouti, Africa, from there again to Mediterranean Sea, from Mediterranean Sea to again UK. So look at the way the China has already gone ahead. When we are talking about CPC and then Maritime Silk Road, One Belt, all this China is already into it. But definitely, if India works little bit differently, and then probably we can be both at on par with each other. But little bit China is ahead now. This quality money much more important than long term. Shushant, are you not ICMR role only, please? ICMR is in regards to it is Indian Council for Medical Research. It is in regards to the way the laboratory tests have to take place, the way the how the transmission has to go ahead. All that will be taken care by the ICMR within. But in regards to money printing, I don't think so. I don't think so personally that ICMR is having any kind of say or particular in regards to the printing of money. They have only in regards to what they can try to go ahead with giving information to the health ministry, and then health ministry and then ICMR in together conjunction can go ahead with giving some kind of notes or some kind of suggestions to the WHO. But it is ultimately to the WHO to go ahead with, or else the India Health Ministry and then ICMR both should and will give the information or the statistics in regards to the infections and then in regards to death cases or to the mortality rate of India in regards to pandemic SARS-CoV-2 to WHO, and any kind of suggestions it can be. But in regards to money printing, I don't think ICMR has any kind of, what you say in that. And if you look at all this, Yes, we have that kind of what you say social prejudices even in India. If you look at even in India, yes, we are working more on hyper nationalism rather than developing or looking to the protection of MSM. Exactly, that is what now the next one is in regards to this. Within India also we have what you say discrimination, or because of the social distancing. Because of the social distancing, what is happening is this is producing undesirable social practices. If you look at this one, we have seen what you say when the migrants were moving from Uttar Pradesh to various other states. In Uttar Pradesh, we could see the health officials or the GHMC officials spraying the disinfections on the humans, the migrant workers. Actually, they are not supposed to spray on the humans. They are actually supposed to disinfect the vehicles wherein they are actually moving from one place to another place. Fine. And there is also, we have seen that because of the quarantine, many of the discrimination is happening in regards to when the doctors are being infected by the virus. So discrimination against the doctors, we have seen against the nurses and the frontline health workers. That is also in regards to sanitary workers, and even there is a more, a new concept which will come in regards to the what is a social discrimination or social prejudice in India, because we are all worried about hygiene system. We are all worried about the hygiene system, and this will create a new kind of discrimination. And if you look at this photograph, please do look at this photograph. Okay, Harpreet Singh said that here in India we are working more on hyper nationalism than MSME. Yes, 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 definitely. No, but the need of the hour, definitely they are also going at. That is what the many of the experts are talking about. We need to focus on MSME and then the agriculture. That is in regards to the harvesting season. Now harvesting season. Violence against policemen in Punjab. Yes, that is today's news. That is today's news. Again, discrimination. Wherein you do not have any kind of control what is happening to that. Yes, COVID-19 impact on harvesting season. Yes, now in regards to Rabi, it has been successful, but in regards to Kharif, it is a big concern. So government is also trying to work out on how best they can try to work out, how best they can try to make sure that the harvesting season will not have any impact on them. And if you look at this photograph, please look at the discrimination. The way I was talking about, Donald Trump has gone ahead with making a statement that he would construct a wall across the Mexico border, US border in the Mexico. So look at it. And now he's not only going ahead with that, but he's also protecting himself, discriminating, and then everyone is working here, disinfecting the area, and then he wants it to be what is a safe. So all this is kind of what is a protectionism approach. Not only national interest, here the concept is personal interest also. So these are the one discriminating against scheduled caste going to rise. Okay, Arpit Singh says that okay. Everything again, that is what again social behavior. So when we are talking about social behavior, again in regards to, it could be again specific again social behavior under that flowchart, gender discrimination, or else what you say caste discrimination. Definitely that could be part of your question in the mains general essay in regards to the society, in regards to society. So I would say a very big hi to everyone, and also the one who are following even in the YouTube, a very big hi to everyone. So the topic what I have taken today was in regards to, in regards to COVID-19 and its impact on, globalization and emergence of protectionism. When I'm saying emergence of protectionism, it is an emergence of new world order, not world new economic world order. No, I'm talking about world order. Tanvi has joined. I said I will say very hi to everyone. So I hope my what you said this topic is definitely fact. Analytical point of view for Blaine's point of view, and an in-depth analysis, in-depth, better and thorough understanding about the COVID-19 and its impact on globalization. You never know. This could be the question in the general essay, or it could be the question in this what do you say mains. Sir, which topic is this? Okay, this is COVID-19 and its impact on globalization and emergence of new world order. COVID-19 and its impact on globalization and emergence of new world order. So I would say thank you to everyone. I would say thank you to everyone. Even what do you say to Madhu and everyone who have joined part of the YouTube also. Everyone, I would say very big hi to everyone. And thank you to everyone. And then please, as I say every day in regards to the special classes also, if you haven't gone ahead with subscribing, please go ahead with subscribing for the Unacademy, that is in regards to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English channel. And then please do not forget using my code, that is SBT10, that is Sandeep Bhushan Thummala, SBT SBT10, that is Sandeep Bhushan Thummala 1010. Suicidal behavior of economics term in news. Okay, Sushant family. Okay, there are various kinds of terms which comes into existence. Yesterday we spoke about one method, that was input-output method. Good points, Brinda. Okay, thank you. And then in social prejudice, we could also include discrimination against. Yes, definitely. That is what I said. Brinda, I was talking about women discrimination and also caste discrimination. So I would conclude it once again and then re-emphasize before I close the session. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead with subscribing the Let's Crack UPSC CSE English channel by using my code SBT10, Sandeep Bhushan Thummala 10. Thank you. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock.